So what are you telling?
He said something about a hit.
A hit on who?
I don't know.
What to tell you then? Seconds later, he mentioned something about a hit. Who was the target of the hit? Seconds, I'm not sure. Seconds, a woman who is closely associated with Yodi and Dolph's convicted killer, Cornelius Smith, has recently come forward and is disclosing all the details of Dolph's murder. Yodi wasn't only involved, she claimed. She is implying that he is responsible for everything while also connecting the second scenario to additional bodies. Now let's get started. The courtroom moment that sparked the fuse. A woman approached the witness box and took an oath of office on the second day of Hernandez Govin's trial in Shelby County Criminal Court in Seconds, Memphis. The prosecutor didn't waste any time getting right to the point when she provided her name and spelled it out for the record. Good morning. Could you please spell and state your name? My name is Angela Arnold.
Could you state and spell your name for the jury?
My name is Angela Arnold.
For the court reporter, she spelled out her name. The prosecution then asked directly about the individual whose name was associated with one of the most well-known homicide cases in Memphis hip-hop history. Second, Miss Arnold, do you know anyone by the name of Cornelius Smith? Indeed. Before moving further, the prosecutor wanted to ensure that the jury understood that she had been seeing Cornelius Smith for years. How do you know him? Dad, my boy, minutes, seconds. What is the duration of your relationship with Miss Smith? Cornelius Smith is one of the two trigger men found guilty of young Dolph's murder since minute seconds. Justin Johnson, who likes straight drop music, is the other shooter. These two guys have been tied. Minute, seconded by prosecutors and trial testimony to a bounty on young Dolph's head, purportedly coming directly from Anthony Big Juck Mims, a CMG executive and Yo Gotti's original brother. Minute, seconds Hernandez Goin was the guy on trial that day. Prosecutors had charged him with being a middleman who allegedly recruited the gunman and facilitated communications between them and Big Juke. Angela Arnold was up there to support her lover Cornelius Smith's statement from the previous day, minute by minute. She was asked if she knew Hernandez Goin by the prosecutor. Minutes, seconds before riding with Cornelius to his crib in Memphis' Orange Mound neighborhood. She claimed that although she didn't truly know him, she had peeped him. Minutes, seconds, and where have you seen Mr. Go? Or how are you familiar with him? Minutes, seconds, and, well, a few rides over Cornelius's house. The questioning changed to where the rubber hits the road after a few minutes and seconds. She was asked by the prosecutor if Cornelius Smith had ever forced her to participate in talks with Goin. Did Mr. Smith ever inform you about any conversations he may have had with Mr. Doan? Yes. Minutes, seconds. That one yes opened the door to the remainder of the testimony, and the prosecutor pushed for the details of those conversations right away. Minutes, seconds, so tell me what he told you. He mentioned something about a hit in a matter of minutes and seconds. Who was the target of the hit? Dolph, minutes, seconds. Dolph was hit in minutes and seconds. Dolph, young. Sitting on the witness stand in court, Shorty told the jury that her boyfriend had informed her that a hit had been put on minutes and seconds before Dolph ever caught one. Although she remembers the dollar figure being somewhere between $1 million and the actual bag was placed at dollar in later trial testimony from minutes, seconds, Smith, and other court reporters. Then came the moment that brought Yodi's entire family lineage into the minutes, second courtroom story. The prosecutor questioned Arnold about whether Smith had ever personally rocked with Yodi's older brother, Anthony Mims, also known as Big Juke. Minutes, seconds. To the best of your knowledge, did Smith ever speak with Big J directly? No, minutes and seconds. Therefore, the natural follow-up was how any messages between the two of them moved at all if there was no direct touch. The entire sequence was outlined in Arnold's response. How did he accomplish that in minutes and seconds? They stated he would speak with Gold and send a message via him, and you would receive a message from him in minutes or seconds. She continued by explaining that the same chain operated in reverse, with Big Juke's signals, music, returning through Goin as the sole intermediary. The chain Arnold outlined during the oath was minutes and seconds. Smith would yell at Goin. Goin would relay the message to Big Juke by going up the ladder. Goin would pass the song back to Smith after Big Juke sent a reaction minutes and seconds later. She claimed that Big Juke was the one making decisions at the top. Yo Gotti's minutes, seconds, brother, the same older brother that was shot and killed back in January prior to the court proceedings. The next day, minute by minute. After the prosecutors secured that line of communication, the interrogation jumped ahead to November 1st, the day young Dolph was killed. Angela Arnold described that morning and afternoon in the courtroom in very quiet detail, and her minutes-seconds account began to piece together the prosecution's timeline that detectives had been attempting to secure for years. According to her testimony, she was at the Memphis home of Cornelius Smith's father on the second morning of November. Cornelius was also present. Before she dipped, Cornelius received a call at some time that morning. Minutes, seconds before you left his dad's house that morning. Do you recall him receiving any calls? He received a call. Minutes, seconds. She recalled seeing a white automobile pull up across the street at about the same time. That particular element was significant because the prosecution's case revolved around a stolen white Mercedes-Benz as the getaway whip. Minutes, seconds. According to Smith's own account from the previous day, Justin Johnson picked him up in the white Mercedes that morning, briefly struck Gone's crib on Bradley Street, and then began driving about the city in search of Dolph. Eventually, followed him inside Makita's Cookies parking lot. Young Dolph had passed away by the time the prosecutor presented Arnold's minutes and second testimony later that afternoon. While copping treats for a charity giveaway, he had been hit several times inside that cookie business. Hours after the murder, Arnold's phone began ringing. Minutes later, the gunman vanished. Minutes, seconds, and did Cornelius Smith get in touch with you later that day, Mr. Wood? Indeed. Okay, minutes, seconds. How did he get in touch with you? Has he given you a call? Minutes, seconds. The phone number itself was the subject of the following inquiry, since she was drawn to the call's song. Did he use his regular phone number to call you? Minutes, seconds. The number was unfamiliar to me. Smith had left his own phone in the white Mercedes getaway whip, so he was calling her from a number she didn't recognize. In a matter of minutes, he instructed her to come pick him up from Tulane Flats, which she had never been. She went there in her dark gray Chevy Trax and bided her time. Minutes and seconds later, Smith gave her the entire scenario in his first words when he got into her car. Minutes, seconds. Did he say anything to you as he got into your car? No. What are you saying to me? All right, sweetie. He was shot as a result. Oh, I see. Minutes, seconds. The prosecutor wanted the jurors to know the precise location of Smith's catch as well as how he described it. All right. Are you aware of the location of his shooting? In the shoulder. Do you know how he was shot in minutes or seconds? Yes. She then went over Smith's story in the courtroom about how the bullet had struck him at Makita's Cookies after the shooting began to come back. Minutes, seconds. He claimed that when they walked up there and in Makita's. Minutes, seconds. Cookies. And he said that Dolphin was the target of their gunfire. Everything that transpired that day was dragged into open minutes, second court, by that one set of answers that fell flat from the witness stand. During the same shootout, Justin Johnson's back was grazed by a slug, and Smith's own trial confession states that he also sustained a cut to his leg. The next piece of the puzzle, which ran everything straight back to Hernandez, appeared minutes later. Govan Smith informed Arnold that he had to go get his phone from the Mercedes. Seconds later, he informed me that we had to go up there to retrieve his phone from the car and that he had contacted Govan. After a few minutes and seconds, she identified the location where they slid through to retrieve the phone. Govan was already seated in another vehicle when they arrived at Pressure World. After a few minutes, Smith got out, went to the rear of the car wash with Govan, and the two cats kicked it in private while Arnold sat in her vehicle. After a few minutes, they got out of the car, went to the back, and started conversing. Arnold didn't hear what was said behind that car wash, but she did peek. Govan gave Cornelius Smith a slide, minutes and seconds. AutoZone was the next destination following the meeting. Have any of you ever stopped? Yes, we visited AutoZone. Okay, minutes, seconds. Did you guys visit AutoZone on that same day? Yes. All right. Why did you guys visit AutoZone then? They receive a car cover in a matter of minutes and seconds. Minutes, seconds. That cover was for the white Mercedes, according to the prosecution. It was necessary to tuck the whip. It had to get cold on the trail. Minutes, seconds. The higher minutes, seconds, power, and pursuing the bag, according to Arnold, were precisely what was happening as the sun set on November 3rd. Arnold's evidence brought the courtroom closer to what transpired in the weeks that followed. Minutes, seconds after the murder. At this point, the purported conspiracy shifted from the rapid cleanup phase to something more subdued, thoughtful, and revealing about the operations of the minutes and second chain of command. And it was in that the name of the alleged higher power began to appear in the words used. Days or so after the shooting, Arnold claimed that Smith wanted her to take him back in the vicinity of Gavin's neighborhood at night so he could wipe his prints off the white Mercedes that had been abandoned. Minutes, seconds, but he believed his prince, who lacked fingers, was in the car. He desired to clean the car of his prints. She deposited him at the top of Bradford Street, hit the block, and came back to pick him up in a matter of minutes and seconds. Smith testified in court that he used a towel and minutes and seconds of peroxide to slide into a yard behind the house, wipe down the Mercedes door panel, and dip. In court, he even acknowledged that he had struck Gavin in advance to get him to play in the garden. However, Smith ran into Gavin in the streets of South Memphis a few minutes later. Arnold explained what Smith had told her about the run-in. Additionally, the statements she made in court are among the most often cited passages from the entire trial, minutes and seconds. He ran to him in traffic after saying he was going to acquire some medications in South Memphis. Minutes, Smith hit the horn, Arnold said. Minutes later, Gavin turned around, pulled up behind him, and exited. According to reports, Smith ran the conversation back to Arnold in a straightforward and concise manner. Goen said, "I've been looking for you," in a matter of minutes. "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Smith allegedly told Goen he was straight in a matter of minutes and seconds. And Gavin returned with a statement that went on to become one of the trial's most frequently cited comments. Goen said, "I don't know what you would have heard, but I haven't said anything," after a few minutes. Goen promised the luggage was on its way minutes and seconds after assuring everyone that no information had leaked. In order to ensure he received his part, he allegedly even mentioned sliding into Yodi's restaurant in Memphis. "Pray. We're going to get this money, even though I haven't spoken anything in minutes or seconds." Minutes, seconds that purported reference to Pray was directly related to the world of CMG, Yo Gotti's label, his companies, and his big bro, Big Minutes, Seconds Juke. Because it connected the bounty money to a location connected to CMG, a piece of evidence that connected to the post-murder. Prosecutors heavily relied on this instance. Minutes, the second cleanup stage, all the way to the purported bread source. Additionally, Arnold supported the larger vision of Big Juke running things minutes and seconds from the top, as Smith had told her. Just 1 month after the murder, she was interviewed by the police in December. She was recorded by the prosecution claiming that Big Juke was the higher power behind the conspiracy's minutes, seconds, and music. Bobby Carter was identified by her as a mutual friend associated with the white Mercedes, and she claimed that Carter had minutes and seconds to phone his Mercedes in because he was also involved. Minutes, seconds, and I withheld some details. All right, first time, minutes, seconds. I told him everything the second time I went down there. Minutes, seconds. Her justification for first holding back was straightforward and really human, she remarked on the stand. She was afraid. Minutes, seconds, and, according to her own testimony, that dread was connected to the specific names being mentioned in this narrative. Big Juke was a high-level minutes and seconds executive at CMG prior to his own death in January. Yodi, his younger brother, founded and operates the label. A purported bounty from him. Run through. Goen used to employ song in the prosecution's playbook to put shooters like Smith and Justin Johnson on a hit on a rival rapper. Young Dolph was in minutes because of the dirt, but Arnold admitted that the information she had was secondhand. Big Juke and she were not in the same room. Goen was not on the line with her. The entire weakness in her evidence was that Cornelia Smith had told her everything she knew, minutes and seconds, and the defense had made this clear during cross-examination. The second cross-examination, the minutes, and the narrative fissures. Hernandez Goen's defense lawyer was a cat named Manny Aurora, an Atlanta lawyer with a lengthy reputation of representing prominent rap industry clients. Aurora's initial action was to make it clear that Arnold didn't even want to be in the courtroom on that particular day, minute, or second, and that all of the information she was aware of came from her lover minutes and seconds. "You obviously don't want to be here today, don't you?" "No, I don't." He made her confess that she had watched the beginning of the trial on TV by pressing her about whether she had seen any of Smith's testimony from the previous day. Then, slowly, He began questioning her about the things she didn't truly know. Minutes, seconds, and in terms of the testimony you gave here today, I mean, it's basically what Cornelius told you. Minutes, seconds. The inquiry was designed to elicit a single response, music, and she provided it. You're simply repeating what he told you in minutes and seconds. Yes. All right, minutes, seconds. That one affirmative answer was for the defense. The entire ball game. Arnold has no first-hand knowledge of any schemes, payments, or meetings with Big Juke. She, minutes, second, had never in her musical life spoken to Hernandez Gon. Her details regarding the purported communication chain, the alleged hit, and the alleged bounty. It all happened in a matter of minutes, thanks to her boyfriend. Additionally, Aurora revealed an intriguing detail that disrupted the prosecution's tidy image. At one time, Smith allegedly told Arnold that he had heard Gon was an FBI informant. Minutes, seconds. Did Cornelius ever mention that, Mr. Minutes, seconds, is Gon a federal informant? He claimed to have heard something similar. The defense suggested that Smith had an incentive to focus the case on Gon rather than himself or Justin Johnson. On the first day of the trial, Cornelius Smith was subjected to a harsher cross-examination than Arnold. According to questions during the trial, the source of that bag came directly from CMG. His own attorney, the minutes, and the second attorney he had recruited at the beginning of his lawsuit had been paid about minutes, seconds, and you were aware that everything was okay. I take it that CMG provided that funding? Yes, minutes and seconds. You know, but I'm not sure exactly who. Minutes, seconds, all right. According to the defense's presentation, Smith stole bread for his legal defense from CMG-affiliated sources and kept them money minutes later. He claimed that his conscience had finally caught up with him. They showed him the letters he had written from jail to his sisters. My lawyer is trying to tell me my best bet is working with the feds, helping them. You informed them. The sentence that came after made the inconsistency clear. The same guy who would lie to avoid a life sentence yet claimed he hadn't done it. When questioned about the letters, Smith claimed he was merely speaking minutes, seconds to Teef, which meant he was speaking aloud to his family and wasn't necessarily speaking the whole truth. The defense retorted that Smith had given different accounts to various audiences, including versions to the police in December, March, and August, and on the witness stand in minutes and seconds. Aurora persisted in asking whether anyone could believe a man whose story had changed so frequently. After just a few hours of jury deliberation, Hernandez Govan was acquitted on August 1st. The foreman explained the explanation to a local minutes seconds reporter from WG. According to him, the decision was based on the absence of independent or supporting physical evidence from sources other than the cooperating witnesses. Minutes, seconds. Cornelius Smith's swapping confessions and Angela Arnold's secondhand testimony had successfully persuaded the jury that the entire case depended on them. Govan discussed the indictment he had received back in November, just months after his daughter's death, in a subsequent interview. Minutes, seconds. What was going through your mind when you heard this? I had to pinch myself. Minutes, seconds. He described how, when he first received the news, the entire situation seemed surreal to him. Yes, minutes and seconds. Since I understood that was simply and not real, I assumed it was a dream. Minutes, seconds. Govan also categorically refuted a story that has been going around for years on the internet and in the streets. The rumor that Manny Aurora, his lawyer, was paid for by Yo Gotti or someone from CMG. Minutes, seconds. That's untrue. Yo Gotti or nobody at CMG ever paid me $1 for my minutes, seconds, attorneys, or anything else pertaining to this matter. Thus, a not guilty verdict resulted from the alleged confession made inside that courtroom, which tied minutes and seconds to a higher power. Big Juke, the higher power mentioned in the testimony, was already in the ground by January and was never accused or questioned before he met his demise. The title verdict and the actual ex-girl. We now reach the section of the story where the titles of minutes, seconds, and a number of videos that are circulating online don't really correspond, because many people who are promoting this narrative have been subtly switching up two entirely different ladies. Furthermore, the facts only go one way: minutes, seconds, and seconds. Angela Arnold, who has never been Yodi's ex-girlfriend, took the stand on the second day of the govern. She has never been sexually associated with Yodi in any reporting, news item, or court document, but she has been minutes, even seconds, rocked with Cornelius Smith, the guilty shooter. One of the men who is alleged to have pulled the trigger at Makida's cookies that day is her partner. Additionally, she did not apologize during her testimony. At times, she unwillingly testified, and at other times, cross-examination revealed the second-hand nature of her knowledge. Minutes, seconds, but she never got up to apologize for anything related to Yodi. Minutes, seconds, Angela Simmons, the reality TV personality and daughter of Reverend Run Minutes, seconds from Run DMC, is the real person who is widely recognized as Yodi's most well-known ex-girlfriend. After going official on Instagram on New Year's Eve, the two of them were in love for around a year. In a June interview on Angie Martinez's IRL podcast, Simmons officially acknowledged the minute-second split. Angela Simmons did not offer an apology during that show, minute by minute. She did not disclose anyone's role in any murders. She used intimate language when discussing the connection. Minutes, seconds, and you've been silent recently. Are you two still together? Minutes, seconds, no, I'm not with him. She made it apparent that she, not God, made the decision to end the relationship. Minutes, seconds. She sat with the host and described how difficult it was to make the decision to go. You have no say in the matter. It was the best option, even if I wouldn't have chosen it. The host was pressuring her about whether or not she was the one who left, so she double-checked her response to be sure it was recorded. Simmons said in her minutes that she had feelings involved and that the breakup experience was quite heartbreaking. Was there any heartache involved? My emotions were involved, you know. Minutes, seconds, and his emotions. Yes, minutes and seconds, but none of that took place in a courtroom. Neither an apology nor the disclosure of murders was involved. Simmons has never publicly addressed the murder of young Dolph, never discussed Big Joke's purported involvement in the bounty, never brought up the Goen or Johnson prosecutions, and never ever commented on the minutes, seconds, and a larger beef between Paper Route Empire and CMG. Her public remarks regarding the split have been consistent and has been restricted to issues of personal compatibility. Regarding the murder accusations concerning his late big brother, Yo Gotti has likewise been totally mute for minutes. Seconds Dolph homicide. He has never been charged in the case, never identified as a suspect in any court record, and never identified by Memphis police as a person of interest. Terrence Dabney, a retired MPD sergeant, was the lead investigator. In the Goen trial, Big Juck was a suspect, but Yodi was not, according to minutes and seconds. Minutes, seconds. Yodi has been enrolled at UCLA's Anderson School of Management since December, sitting in a class on corporate minutes, seconds evaluation while still running CMG rather than discussing the case. Gotti has limited his public discussions to discussing his music, his company, his transition out of minutes, the streets, and his hip-hop philosophy, thereby generating economic chances for the culture. Despite the difficulties surrounding his late in Memphis, minutes and seconds brother took place. He hasn't specifically addressed the Dolph case in. He has not commented on Hernandez Goen's trial. Big Juke's purported involvement in the bounty has not been addressed by him in minutes or seconds, and there is no reference to his late big bro in relation to the case on his social media. Dolph is not mentioned. None of the trials were mentioned. Minutes, seconds, so the picture becomes evident when you combine all of this. The claim that Yodi's ex-girlfriend apologized in minutes, appeared in court, and disclosed all of his killings is a title that has been circulated on YouTube and other platforms, but it is not backed by the facts. Angela Arnold, the witness, was not Yodi's former girlfriend. She didn't offer an apology for minutes or seconds. In reality, the killings she described in her multiple testimonies were just one murder. On November 1st, young Dolph was killed at Makida's Cookies. Minutes, seconds, and Yo Gotti was not the guy she finally cast as the greater power responsible for that murder. Older Juke, his late older brother, was killed in minutes and seconds in January before he could be charged or meet with authorities. Minutes, seconds Angela Simmons, the real ex-girlfriend, has only discussed why the minutes, seconds relationship ended on a personal level and has been utterly silent on the criminal accusations. Hernandez Goen was acquitted in the relevant trial. The title's true subject, Yodi, has never. Minutes and seconds have been charged in relation to the Dolph murder, and he hasn't made any public statements about it. The narrative being promoted is in minutes, seconds short, and many of those titles are based on a misreading of what was really stated in court, an exaggeration of testimony, and a mix-up of names. The true tale is much more complex than any one headline can convey, but it is also simpler, sadder, and takes just a few minutes. Young Dolph was slain. 2 gunmen were found guilty. A middleman got away with it in a matter of minutes and seconds. Big Juke was supposedly a greater power, and he's not around to take responsibility for any of it, like Dolph. I appreciate the minutes and seconds watching. If you like this video, you can view more similar material by clicking on one of the boxes that are currently playing on your screen.